Does it get trippy?
Yep.
Every time. Just have to kill it and restart it.
And should be good now.
All right.
We're back.
We're back. This is like, what, 2 out of the last 3 days?
Yeah.
I mean, we're cutting eggs.
Cutting eggs.
It's like you held all the egg cutting until I was back.
I know.
How the hell did you manage that?
I really did squeak by. I think I only did one live egg
One or
cutting.
two.
1 or 2, yeah.
Yeah, that was it. One was 2 eggs.
Oh, I did 2. Yeah.
Out of 40-some clutches, I'm gone a month, you cut 2.
Yeah.
In the busiest season.
I know.
How the hell? That's all right, though. I like cutting eggs. I'm pretty excited about it. I'm just going to say, actually what caused that, since somebody said that we referenced our line of blitz, and I'll get it in a minute, before we cut these bad boys, and how egotistical that was. I'm going to say that you only had to cut 2 sets of eggs because I, in my godlike ball python breeding abilities, planned it that way so that I could do most of the cutting.
Yeah.
I am the only one with the magic scissors. No, not true at all. It just happened that way.
Although, based on the genes we hit on those egg cutting and the sex ratio, I should probably never cut an egg again.
Oh, you will. We're going to have you do it more. And no, it's just the way it worked out.
Yeah.
So something to understand when we reference like my line of something. I want to explain that because somebody was getting pissed about all these egotistical ball python breeders. And I can see where they're coming from to an extent. All that it doesn't mean I invented Blitz. It doesn't mean I own Blitz. It doesn't mean, but I have taken Blitz. I got my original Blitz through Tall Grass Reptiles, who also produces really nice Blitz, by the way, and bred that, and I've held back its babies and rebred and held back what I look for in a Blitz, what I think is a nice Blitz to pass that along. So when we reference like, hey, this is my line of this, it's because we've specifically held back certain things in there to make it a way that we want to look. So there are things I will refer to as my line. It doesn't mean that it's, we're not going to start calling it the Olympus line or anything like that. I think that's a little bit overblown. The only thing we would do that on would be the Hellfire if it proves to just be another line of Pastel, because that would be a random mutation that popped up outside of where it should. But when it's this and we're line breeding a line of a morph, we will refer to our line at times, and so will other breeders. And I don't refer to other breeders' lines. A great example is when you start working with SK Xanthic. There are several lines I trust more than others. John Dogg's line of SK Xanthic is fantastic. I don't think anybody's going to argue that. That man has line bred that to make it really, really nice. There's also another John out of Wichita, Kansas, who's done the same, John Stoltz, and the guys that work with him have line bred their Xanthic to make it really, really nice in the SK line. That's their line, and if I'm going to buy, I kind of want to know the lineage. If I know it comes from those guys, I'm more apt to purchase it because I know the quality I'm going to get. I know how that fits into what I'm working with on my line, right? So I make my line look good as using those people's lines. So it's not an egotistical thing, and there are things like that with Blitz where we've held back the pattern that we like the best, not just random Blitz. Same with Spider. I can tell you my line of Spider that I work with, that I have line bred, is bred to have very little pattern. This is not a love or hate spider thing within the barbed wire. So you don't get the alien head pattern. You don't get the dot. I don't like that. So I tried to breed it out. I would not hold back ones that showed that. I would get rid of those and only keep the ones that didn't, because there's so much more that goes into how a certain morph looks at the single gene that's in it. It's a combination of the entire DNA strand. Just like with people, not every person with blue eyes looks the same, even though they carry the same blue-eyed trait, right? They're all probably related if you go back far enough in the genome. Their eyes aren't the same size. They're not spaced the same distance from their head. They're not even always the same shade of fucking blue. But they all have blue eyes. So there's more to making a snake look a certain way than just a single gene being in it. And that's what we're really referencing. We talk about something in my line. And I'd say that goes for most ball python breeders. I don't think it's egotistical for most of them.
It's not even just ball pythons. Every animal industry. When I was breeding champion guppies and doing show guppies, I had my own line of guppies, and you buy lines of guppies from specific people because their lines were nice. It's not just there's lines of boas. There's lines of, there's literally specific lines of cobras and cottonmouths.
Yes. We're going to have my line of Western Diamondbacks. No, I'm kidding. Anyway, I just want to share that because if one person thinks you're being an egotistical dick, more may have thought that, and that's really not what we're trying to do at all.
David C. said, Matt without a hat? Exclamation point,
I
exclamation
know.
point.
I just didn't have one on today, and usually I've got one in the truck, but the one I have in the truck is not like I do have a hat in the truck, but it's not a hat I would wear for this kind of work because it doesn't fit my motif. It is a hat that I actually wear whenever I'm out and about. Like if I'm out doing adventuresome stuff and a lot of sun, it's the hat I wear for that because it shades my neck. Looks like an old man hat. It is purple though. It does say K-State. Just saying.
Kane I don't know how to pronounce that, so I'm sorry I'm butchering it. Kane Paget, first time actually making a live. Love your videos.
Oh well, thank you, Kane. Glad to have you here.
King Cardano said, looking like you're ready to go coach Pee Wee football.
That'd be fucking fun, dude. I'd love to coach Pee Wee football.
I did
That'd be
apply
neat.
for a coaching position.
Did you?
For 7th grade basketball.
Oh, if you get it, I will come cheer your team on.
I don't know that I'll get it, but
I'm gonna yell obscenities at the other team. I'm gonna sit right behind the bench and be like, fucking box out like a man.
I won't say what school it is, but I will say they pay $1 more than every other school because there's so many fights at their school.
Yes, I think I know which one it is. Anyway. Hopefully you get it. That'd be fun.
That would be
I'd
fun.
I'd come watch a coach, Caleb. I'd come watch a coach. So what is this clutch before I start just chopping it in? So this is bred. The female is a pastel freeway, and the male is an ivory produced in house with I don't know what else in there. So the ivory could have inchy in it, and it could have pastel in it as well. So we could hit super pastel inchy freeways in here. That would be the nicest thing. We also could only hit pastel freeways as the nicest thing. It depends on what's in data. When you get an all white snake with a little bit of color, it's really hard to say for sure. So we just kind of call it possible. So that's where we're at on here. We'll kind of maybe prove what's in data. So any super pastel would prove pastel in our ivory. Any inchy we see. So if we would have hit a Mardi Gras, wait a minute. Yes, inchy would be a Mardi Gras. That would also prove that. So
Burner Reptile said, greetings from Germany.
Ah, that's awesome. If you ever hear me make fun of Germany, I'm only making fun of one person in particular who doesn't believe Super Blitz exists if we proved it. Most of you Germans are pretty badass, and your beer's phenomenal.
Most.
What's that? Most?
Most.
Most. Well, there was one guy in history that wasn't badass.
I was trying not to make that joke.
But Germans think that guy sucks ass, too.
Yeah. Again, I apologize for mispronouncing this because I'm really bad at that. Da Akinator. I'm new and ignorant to genetics, but what's your take on females and semen retention? How do you know those genes from past breedings don't affect the outcome of future breedings?
So semen retention is a thing. We've had it happen here, but it's not like you're going to have genetics from both males. I mean, in a single snake. You technically could have 2 eggs from one male that are retained sperm and 4 eggs from the new male. That could happen. But that's pretty rare. You're going to see it. And that's why it's important to track your past instances when a male and female locked but no eggs were produced. Because it will help when you have that, what the fuck is this clutch? Because you're going to get it one day if you do this long enough. To go back and be like, hey, I bet this is what I'm looking at. And it helps identification. So remember, each snake is only going to have a dad and a mom. A mom is pretty simple, but a dad. So you're not going to have retained sperm mixing in with genes from a new dad and have genes from 2 different dads in one snake. It does not work that way. Think of DNA kind of like a zipper. Mom, dad, zips up and connects, right? It's a really simple, flight way of looking at it, but it's how I do it because I'm an idiot. And if you have a zipper with 3 things, it doesn't zip worth a fuck. So if something like that happened, it would not work. Because you have to have half from mom, half from dad, they have to zip together. So that's the best way to kind of, hopefully that answers the question a little bit.
Yeah. And then Da Akinator, let me know if I pronounced that right. I am curious how you pronounce that now.
Probably not that.
Definitely not that, but I am curious. So, Blue Line Morphs, hello.
What's going on, Blue Line? So I guess we should hack into these sons of bitches, right? Isn't that what time it is?
First, Shar and Dennis have been together for 29 years today.
Damn!
That's longer than I've been alive.
Shar, you need an award. Like, that man better do something real nice for you. Real nice.
But yes,
and Dennis, once they
cut.
do something real nice for her, it is not the same thing that music video from Saturday Night Live was. Not an appropriate gift. If you know the music video I'm referencing from the Lonely Island Gang. If not, just go look up Lonely Island game Christmas present. You'll probably find it on YouTube. Not an appropriate gift. But get her something real nice for putting up with your ass for 29 years because us men are a pain in the butt. All right, we ready to cut these?
We are.
Let's cut them, man. Let's cut them.
And King Cardano, we are not working acid yet.
No, but it is on our list to get sometime. We're going to start over here. So again, everything in this clutch, everything should be at least ivory or freeway.
Yep. And Blue Line Morph said, congrats on retirement, dude. Made it through the greatest show on earth, baby.
I almost went right back. Like, I have a chance to go kind of back, but I think I'm going to not do it. It would be at a different agency, totally. That looks like, if I could see your back, I think you're a freeway. Yeah. So there's freeway in that. You really can't see much of it. If I tap it here, you can kind of see.
Yeah.
That's about the most I'm willing to move. I can't tell what else is in there, but that's a minimum of pastel freeway. Maybe a little more going on. So that's a good start. Off to a good start. Doesn't prove anything, though, on our other one, on our male yet. Also, Blue Line, correct me if I'm wrong. I should remember I came right home and started cutting, didn't get to check some notes first. But I do believe you're involved right now in doing a charity, right? For a gentleman that's in a coma from a car accident with a bicycle. Am I correct on that? Is that, if I'm going by memory? If I'm not correct, let me know. But if I am correct, I want you to post that there so others can see that, because that is a noble thing to do.
He said, yeah, I'll text you.
Text me, but if you've got like a GoFundMe or something set up and you want to post that in here, post it in here, man. Somebody told me about that yesterday, and like, definitely, that's another breeder that's been injured, who's a pretty good dude. Another freeway.
Mm-hmm.
That one looks really good. Hot damn. What do you think, Caleb?
I'm thinking that's pretty white.
Thinking there's 2 copies of the old pastel in there?
I do believe so.
That might prove one gene. Let's keep on going. 2 freeways. We're off to a good start. We'd obviously prefer... goop on my fingers makes this slick. We'd obviously prefer freeways over ivories, but ivories aren't bad either. When you get clutches like this is what's great about the freeway ivory project. So the freeways aren't worth what they once were. And anybody who was investing that freeways were always going to be thousands of dollars, well, that's moronic. Everything's going to drop. But the nice thing on these kind of stuff that will always hold is when you're making freeways or ivories, you're never making normals, and you're always going to get good stuff. Speaking of ivories, I think we got our first ivory right there. Looks pretty solid white to me. So this is, when your base is an ivory, you're in a good spot, right? That's the clutch that's going to always help keep some bills paid. That's what we're looking for. So I'll pick this one up. It's a small one. Sometimes these small ones are just easier to put in your hand to cut.
So far, 2 pastel freeways and a ivory.
We think that one's probably going to be more than a pastel freeway.
Yes.
I think this one's going to be another ivory, if I'm betting, man. Yeah. You can see its back right there. The freeways are always going to show something on the back. So you can see some back. Okay, you're moving in there. Then you're going to have... So right now we're 2-2. Odds are holding out. We got 3 more eggs. Let's see what we get. It's kind of fun cutting them out here. Well, let's cut them out here for you guys if we can.
What do you think about Candino Morph? That's what I'm working on. I know not the most expensive, but I like the albinos.
I love Candino. We've been making them every year. I think that's a great thing to do. For those that don't know, toffee and candy are the same. So Toffino, Candino, it's the exact same thing. We actually have the toffee line, but it's, we're all talking about the same thing. So I am a big fan of it. To me, I tell people it looks like a banana that doesn't turn shitty. They're going to hold their colors a lot better than a banana does and have some similar colors. They're not going to get any black spots. I think we got another ivory here.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, there's a little twitch. All right, so 3 ivories. 2, not ivories, I guess you'd say, 2 freeways. These I got to cut in there because they're pretty well connected up. So we're going to hope for some more freeways to at least even these odds out. That looks pretty freeway to me, or ivory to me. You see that stripe on the top?
Yeah.
That's going to tell me there's probably something else going on there. But that looks like an ivory. So now we've got 4 ivories. We really need 3 freeways out of this. I'd feel a lot better. I really don't want to go 5 and 2 when the first 2 eggs I cut were freeways. But again, ivories aren't bad.
David C. said, I know it's random, but what's the difference between highway and freeway?
Asphalt or gravel, which is probably the same gene, maybe the same gene, or really close related. That's the only difference. Yellow belly is going to be consistent throughout. I should have cut this one from the other side. It would have made my angle a lot easier. I don't really like when I'm having to stab the scissors down in there. Not my favorite thing. You know what? Why don't I just cut from the other side? It ain't going to hurt. Why keep doing something the hard way when I can just switch and do it the easy way? Oh man, look at that. Oh, nope, it is a freeway. Woo. Yeah. There it is. You can see its face right there. I couldn't see the face from my angle, so but definitely a freeway. And it looks like every single freeway
has pastel.
Is at least pastel freeway. Yeah, we don't have any straight freeways in this clutch, which is okay. You know, I actually really like the straight freeways personally. I like that darker color a bit. A funny story is I'd held one back, right? I was going to keep a straight freeway, and then due to a clerical error, which is my own damn fault, I listed a freeway I was selling twice. I had forgot I already sold it and I had it posted again. Somebody actually asked about it, if we had one. And I just had an update on my list and said, yeah, I've got one. Well, they wanted to buy it. So then basically I'd sold the same snake twice. So the original person who bought the snake, they get to keep that snake. Because, you know, they bought it first. It is what it is. We throw this away. So what I ended up doing was I contacted the second buyer. I said, hey man, I foobarred this. Sorry, you know. But what I'll do is I have a holdback freeway. And if you still want it, I'll just send you my holdback. So I actually lost my holdback freeway. It's still here, but it's going to go to this new home the next time we ship and they're ready. So I was going to keep a straight freeway because I mean, it's better genetically to keep one of these. And I've got some of this stuff held back growing up already. So, you know, I mean, I could just keep another one. But I kind of wanted just a straight freeway. I don't know why. Just kind of did. They're kind of cool looking. But within a few years, we'll be producing a lot more of this shit because I do have some additional things Fuse produced growing up. So we'll have male freeways to be able to breed stuff and things like that. So we're in a good spot on it anyway.
Daniel Patton asked if one of the cords looked tangled. I don't think there was a cord tangled in
so
both cords.
What you're seeing, I know what you're looking at. Let's find the one you're talking about. Make sure we're talking about the same thing. Wasn't that one. This one. So you're probably looking at this right here. Right? Would be my guess. And that could be. But what I'm looking at right now is, this is one of the reasons why you'd cut. Because it is around there. So we'll keep an eyeball on that snake. We'll be checking this clutch daily. And just to see if that starts to get to a point where it's an issue, we'll snip it and tie it off. Or like close it. But it's in a spot where I don't think I can maneuver that snake around and get that out yet. But it may not be tight. That's why when you poke it, you'll see it's got some good movement there. So it may not be tight on it. And as it absorbs, it might be able to pull that on through there. If it appears to be getting to be an issue, because what will get to be an issue is if they go to come out early, sometimes it'll kill themselves on that, or if it gets around their neck when they're trying to breathe air. Since that's not tight, I'm going to let the snake figure that out on its own right now. And if we need to in a few days, we'll probably pull that snake out if we have to, but not yet. We'll let some things come out on their own, because that is possibly a tight cord that you're seeing. I'm guessing that's the snake you were talking about.
Yeah, he did say that was it.
Yep. Now, again, when you move it, it looks loose, so I don't think that snake's on a point of an issue right now, so we're going to let it be. If I were to clip that, we'd run the risk of bleeding out, and we'd have to force that thing to be born. and then mess with it. We'll probably give it a bit to absorb some more yolk because they're still, I mean, you look in these eggs, I mean, they're due, but I can't tell you how much yolk's in them. I mean, I really can't see it, but that's going to be kind of the key. Well, there's much in some of these. So, anyway, which would be a a thing. So we will definitely keep an eye on that. But all right, anything else?
Northwood Reptile said, "Would you continue putting males in with females? I have several females that are still eating that have not seen a visual lock in over 2 months."
So we're done at this point. I mean, I think it depends on where you're at and how your season's going. There's people who do it all year. People do it less than us. People do it more. It's kind of all over the map. If I'm not seeing any locks, and it depends on collection size too, man. So like we'll start ours end of October, and we typically run it through about July. One thing I'll say is if you're breeding your males pretty hard, which we do. I mean, they need time off. They need time off. So you want to make sure that you're giving them a chunk of time off. For us, that's going to usually be all of September, October, November, or sorry, all of September and October at least. That's at minimum. Usually it's going to be starting into July. You usually get August, September, and October, which is a fourth of the year off. The other thing we do is we monitor our males. There's one male in particular this year who is a younger male, didn't like to eat during breeding season. His body condition started to look like ass, and we rotated him out early. He still fought us on feeding to the point that I was getting a little worried about him, but now he's eating really good. He just has to put his body weight back on. He may not even start as early as the rest of them. You really got to pay attention to the condition of your males because you can breed a male to death. It happens. It's not something, and when it does happen, 90% of the time that's the breeder's fault. Like it's something we control, and because we could have stopped breeding them. Sometimes you stop early enough and you just can't get them back on for whatever reason. I've had that happen once. But I always thought, what if I had stopped earlier? Maybe I could have prevented that. So now I'm probably a little quicker to pull the plug on a male than I used to be because I had that happen and it sucked ass and I didn't want that to happen again. So that's where I'm at on that. It just kind of depends on what they're doing. It won't hurt if your males are doing great. But if your males aren't eating, you're not seeing locks, just might as well stop. Anything else?
Nope.
All right, guys, that's all I got. We're going to switch over to Patreon, talk about what we're going to do with these guys, and go from there.